Welcome back to the BTR channel, and today we have another tier list video for you guys. This time we'll be ranking NBA teams, but before we continue, make sure you guys check out our EPL tier list video which is dropped after this video.
Like the EPL video. If you ever disagree or agree with us in anything in this video, comment down below. We would love to know your thoughts. And also, please hit the like button if you like this type of content. That way we could know to upload more tier list videos and other ones in the future.
So let's get started. The NBA season has concluded earlier this week at the time of this recording, and we'll be ranking these teams based on what their expectations were, how did they finish, and if they made the playoffs, how did they perform in the playoffs, etc.
Do we consider draft lottery in this?
I think we might have to, because the
Yeah.
difference between this and the Premier League one was the relegation means automatic F. We don't have relegation in American sports, North American sports. So, but let's just get started. We'll
All right,
figure
we're
that
going to
out.
start off with a bang with the Milwaukee Bucks.
Okay, so the Bucks.
All right, what do you think? Instant thoughts first. What tier?
Instantly, I'm thinking high B, low A.
I would go B tier.
Because it's mainly because of they were the best team in the
They're
Eastern
the best team in
Conference.
NBA.
Okay, and then the problem was the playoffs, but a lot of that had to do with Giannis. But then, in my opinion, I still thought they should have beaten the Heat. So that's why I'm leaning towards B, because obviously expectations were title. They were my title favorites heading into the playoffs and even before the season. But because if it's a first round exit, yeah, I think a B is fair.
Honestly, my initial thoughts were anywhere from B and C. But since you said A and B, I'll probably go with... I'll
Yeah, I
agree
don't
with the
think
B.
C. I think a C is so low.
You think a C is
because
too low?
Giannis' injury was a big factor. So.
Yeah, but like, I really like the playoffs and the way they disappointed in the playoffs. That's why they have to be lower. They can't be S or A tier, in my opinion. All right, let's move on to the Brooklyn Nets.
So this is a tough one, right? Beginning of the season, you thought title contenders, but you had Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, Ben Simmons, and the rest of the squad there, right? But then everybody gets traded and Ben Simmons stopped playing, right? Not like Ben Simmons was a big factor anyways, but so obviously it's a tough one to rank because then they obviously were in a playoff spot and made the playoffs, but they weren't going to do much in the playoffs.
My thoughts are C.
Yeah, just as a franchise as a whole, it was very disoriented.
Because like we're factoring in everything, right?
True.
So expectations at the beginning of the season was title. That did not happen.
Yeah.
Yes, a lot of shit happened throughout the deadline and also
But even with that,
all
it's
the
just,
drama as well.
exactly. So that you have to factor in the drama. It's not just the player's performance or anything. But yeah, like you said, I think C is fair just because.
And also they cannot be in the same tier as the Bucks, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, for sure. So
Right.
yeah, I think it's a C. Mid C is fair for sure.
The Knicks,
That's a B team,
same.
B tier.
I agree.
Because they obviously had a disappointing year last year, but this year they went above expectations again. In terms of
And
finishing
won a
as
playoff
the
round as well.
fifth seed, right?
And won a playoff round.
And they won, and they won a playoff round 4-1. So, but then when the Heat made it, everybody thought the Knicks were gonna win. It was like a Maple Leaf situation, right? That in that situation.
I actually disagreed. I thought the Heat had an easier.
Yeah, but either way,
Now you were the fifth seed, right?
yeah, there was a fifth seed. They handled their first round competition. We thought the Cavs were gonna easily win that series, right? And yeah, I think a B is fair.
Yeah. So some people might disagree with the Bucks and Knicks being the same tier, but considering the finish,
Level of team for sure.
yeah, level of team, but
But this is
considering the
based on their expectations.
yeah, considering the finish the Bucks had, I would say it's fair.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's the Raptors.
D tier.
I would probably put them D tier.
It's because, okay, so here's the thing. If last year did not happen, they probably would have been a C tier team for me. Because last year they were like the fifth seed, I think, or the sixth seed when they faced the Sixers. They had expectations going into this year. They added Otto Porter Jr. Obviously, he was injured. You had a second year of Scotty Barnes, right? Yes, Pascal Siakam emerged a little bit more, but then
Fred dropped.
Fred dropped, right? So, and then on top of that, the way you lost, you let DeMar DeRozan's daughter scream you to losing by missing free
And
throws.
we had a big lead in the play-in.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're right. I agree with the expectation that we gave ourselves because we've shown that we can make the playoffs with the team that we had right now, and we struggled. Also, we were the 9th seed. We had a home court advantage in the play-in game against the Bulls, who I believe we were the better team, like overall, like season-wise, and had a double-digit lead that we blew in the fourth quarter.
This is definitely a little bit, emotional and biased for you here, pick. But
Yeah,
Obviously, for you, probably,
I think it's fair with the D
D
tier
tier,
because
yeah.
they're not F tier team, right? Like they're
No.
better than like the 15 seeds that we had.
Yeah.
Let's go another tough one to say gets ranked. They're also very disrespected because their photos cut off. The Utah Jazz.
B tier. And the reason is their expectations after trading Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert, where they're gonna be like Wembanyama hunting.
I I think it's C tier
Why?
because what yes, they had the initial surge in the beginning of the season, but as the time went on, they struggled, right?
Where did they end up falling? Let me just check.
They weren't even a play-on spot.
I know that, like,
Yeah, and that for that reason, I want to say C tier because for me, C tier is mid, right?
but here's the thing, right?
Like their expectation wasn't to make the play-in or playoffs, and then they
Their
met that.
expectation was lottery.
Yeah, and that's what they are. So like for me, C tier around there.
But here's the thing: they were
Means that,
three
like-
games out of the play-on spot. They were right there. They weren't like the Spurs or the Rockets either, and they were supposed
Yeah,
to. be
the Spurs and Rockets are gonna be here.
Laurie Markkinen emerged.
The Spurs and
right.
Rockets are be in this range. All right.
Yeah, that's fine. But here's the thing: the Jazz for the first half of the season were in a playoff spot, play-in spot, right? Yes, they fell off late,
No,
but you did not
it's a
even.
result.
But you didn't expect them to be there at the beginning, right? You expected them to be where the Spurs
Yeah,
were
but
from day
it
one.
ended up being the end result was where we expected for them to be. Right? And also, if you factor in roster quality wise, it cannot be the
It's not
same
just
tier.
we're not basing it on roster.
I know, but
quality
we're
either.
basing off multiple things. End result. That's why Bucks are here. If it was no end result, Bucks would be up here, right?
Yeah, no, true.
I'm saying C tier.
This is a C plus tier, but we don't have that on this.
Yeah. For me, they can't be in the same tier as these two right now. But should we move on to the next one, or you want to say anything else? I know.
I get your point, but their expectations. Actually, yeah, you're
Yeah,
right. You know what?
Yeah,
You're right.
Like you can't.
They
You're
were the
basing it on
13th
one thing
seed.
too. Like we're basing on everything. You're saying
Yeah,
expectation as well.
they
We still gotta look at roster quality. We still gotta look at the end result, right? So let's go on to the Rockets.
See, here's the thing. We're not relegating a team. Otherwise, that would have been F.
But they were the 14th seed, right?
They were the 14th seed. They fell to the 4th in the draft lottery. They were meant to be a draft lottery team, anyways.
A top 3 pick team, right?
Yeah. It's D or F for sure.
Yeah.
But the problem with me is that I don't know how to base it though, because here, like, what are you thinking in this case?
Me is D or F.
But if you were to pick one, like,
Oh,
because they're a young team, they weren't meant to. At least with the Jazz, it was a tough discussion because they were in a playoff spot at one point.
For me, F is like your disappointment,
Like F, yeah,
like how we had Chelsea in our EPL video,
yeah.
right? So for that reason, they were already expected to be like a D team or
And
an
they
F
stayed a
team
D
range,
team.
right? And they stayed a D team in my opinion. Like they were expected to be in the top 5 at least for lottery odds. I would put initial rankings at D.
Okay, we might need to move that down, but yeah,
For now, yeah, we'll keep it here for now, right? Do you agree?
yeah, I agree with D so far because I have another team. I have an opinion for F when we get to that.
Yeah. The New Orleans Pelicans.
This is a D team. Sorry. No. The D team is only because of the stupid Zion stuff going on. Injuries played a factor. They were first place once upon a time, right? But I guess I put them in C, the end of C.
End of C, right? I would agree at end
Because
of
they
C.
still made a play-in spot. They didn't win it. They weren't in the playoffs.
Bro, that ending of that game was so brutal though. That
Yeah.
turnover on the inbound play. But
They're a
reason-
C minus tier for me if that's
yeah,
the word
I would.
for it.
Well, only reason I would push him down to D if my only reason
Well, see, like,
for
here's
that.
the thing. The Raptors are in D tier.
Yeah, but the Raptors.
I expected the
Raptors-
Pelicans to be better than what the Raptors are expected to be this year in the Western
That's what I was
Conference.
about to say. Like the only reason I push him in D tier is that the fact that you had that.
If you have the Raptors in D tier, I might want to put the Pelicans in D tier.
So I'm
Because
saying,
I don't know what's happening. Again, we're factoring everything, right?
yeah, no, but I was saying that like for my argument for D tier was that you were first place.
Yeah.
You had a good enough roster. Like it wasn't like the Jazz where it's a fluke playoff spot, right? This was legit. Like okay, these guys could
And
make
then
the
we don't know
playoffs.
what's happening with Zion. Like he's supposed to be back. He's not supposed to be back.
And a trio, even the duo of Ingram, who was also injured, and McCollum still got you to the 8 seed a couple years ago, right?
Yeah. You know
So-
what? Drop him to D.
I would put him right here.
Yeah.
Oh, your team, the Lakers.
Here we go.
I'm putting him here.
A tier?
My initial thoughts.
My initial thoughts, okay, I agree, and here's why. And before people come on my ass that, oh yeah, you're being biased fan.
Bro,
Listen,
and
if this was pre-deadline Lakers, you drop them an F.
this was here. Yeah,
That was there, right? And then if you put them post-playoff, you put them in, sorry, post-trade deadline till the playoffs, you put them in A. Which is why, if you average it out, I think B. So I slightly disagree with the A.
okay. No, here's my argument for A right now.
They made the conference finals.
They had a better playoff run than the Bucks and the Knicks, right?
True. But
They were
the reason why I'm
they were the 7th seed.
yeah.
They were the worst team, one of the worst teams in
And then,
basketball,
yeah, we had one of the big
and then they became all the way the best team. So for me, they had an F tier, like
yeah,
the
they
beginning
were
was
clear
F,
tier, yeah.
and then it went up to S tier. So reason why I'm dropping an A tier, because obviously you're going to bring it down. So obviously you average out probably around B tier, right? But that playoff push for me pushes it up to A tier.
I get the comeback win against the Timberwolves, right? Obviously we handled the Grizzlies pretty well. We handled the Warriors.
And yeah,
But we got swept by the Nuggets is why I'm like, I need to put them in B tier. Now that could be a little bit of a personal bias towards it.
bias. What do you mean? I think you're underrating, low key.
Hey, A, keep them an A, I guess, for now. We need someone in A right now, but they're a B plus. For me, on average, they were a B plus season. That was my finish. But we'll see where we put the rest of them. But you could keep them an A for now. We could adjust it.
All right, we'll move on to the Bulls.
That's a C tier.
I agree.
Because one, they beat your squad.
Yeah, and they have
DeMar
to
DeRozan's daughter, MVP.
Yeah.
Second thing, they were 2 max true shots away from going into the playoffs to face the
Bucks.
The Bucks. And yeah, who knows? Obviously, I felt like the Bucks would have won that series, but who knows what could have happened. But I feel like that's a good C tier team because
Yeah.
I still thought they should have been a comfortable playoff type team like they were last year.
I think they were playing team.
Obviously, the Lonzo injury is a big factor because he was a key playmaking defense piece for them. And they lost a big time playmaking. Obviously, Caruso helps the defense. But yeah, they beat your squad. And then they almost took Miami out. And Miami made it to the finals. So I think C, like high C is fair. I think you should put them up for the Nets as well.
You can go like that.
Yeah. Because the Nets got swept at the
All
end
right.
of the day.
Timberwolves.
So I can't put them out C again. I feel like a lot of these teams are going to be C for me. But
Yeah. All right, here's my reasoning for C. First of all, what the hell was that Rudy Gobert trade?
yeah.
Did not work at all. Second thing was play-in team. They lost the play-in game and they beat the Pelicans.
Yeah.
No, they beat the
No,
Thunder.
they
They
beat
beat
the
the Thunder. So you still handle your business. You made it to the 8th seed, and respectfully, you're supposed to lose in the first round, and you did, right? Expectations were a little bit higher for me.
Yeah, their expectations at the beginning of the season when I was looking at preseason rankings and stuff was like 4th, 5th seed,
Yeah, right.
and I completely disagreed with that because of the fit of the two bigs.
Yeah, so no. I would agree if it was pre-Rudy Gobert trade, like 4th
Yeah.
or 5th seed. But the fact that you got Rudy Gobert and just fucked up legit Karl Anthony Towns' positioning as well.
Well, he was injured for half the year too. But
Yeah, that's true.
that was another factor.
But the spacing, like,
But Anthony Edwards stepped up for me, and I feel like C is a fair spot because, yeah, I feel like I think
C is a fair spot.
C is a fair spot.
I don't know why we're taking too long because we agree.
Yeah.
But Portland,
This is the one that I was saying earlier, F tier for me.
I would agree.
They were first place, first top 3 at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
You have a team around Damian Lillard, and don't get me started with that situation going on. This is a team that should be making the playoffs. Damian Lillard was healthy this year, and at least a minimum play-in spot.
They
For
should
me,
play,
right? They
like-
should have been not instead of with the Thunder. Even the Timberwolves were. I think they were a better team than them, right? But then they fell off.
They really did
They
fall off
fell
because they weren't really in contention for the play-in after.
No,
Right?
yeah, like
Like-
Damian Lillard started sitting out. Like I think in end of March.
Like their season ended a month earlier,
Yeah.
right? So for that reason, I would put them F tier too.
Yeah, like they finished 13th spot, 20 games. Sorry, not 20 games. 7 games out of a play-in spot. 4 games out of the Jazz, right? Now I know we have Jazz on the C tier, but Jazz's expectations were literally bottom of the bottom.
Yeah, like Portland was still at least playing, right?
Yeah, I did not like their season. Obviously Damian Lillard balled out, but no one else really did.
I think Anthony Simons was injured a lot too,
But
right?
yeah,
But no, your expectation was higher,
yeah,
right? Like you were supposed to be at least here, in my opinion. And the play-in spot right here, which I would say is like the Bulls, these guys, we're all contending for a playing spot except for the Nets, obviously.
Yeah.
So the fact that you really missed that out by what, 7 games, you said? I agree with putting him at F tier.
Okay.
All right, here's an S tier team, and
Just
there's
drop
no
him there.
debate,
Congratulations on your championship and a dominant run. Jokic is the best player in the world. That's it. That's all we need to say.
bro.
We've given your flowers at the podcast. We'll go watch that link. Go watch that after this video.
Yeah,
We should just move.
probably one of the most dominant playoff runs I've seen in a while.
So yeah, S tier for sure.
All right, Thunder.
A. Put him in A because
You
here's
would say A?
A. Here's the reason why.
All right, go.
That team was supposed to be bottom of the barrel, as well, right? Yes, Shea emerged for. I think he was All NBA first team, right? At least he was All NBA for sure. The best Canadian basketball player right now. Okay, you could argue Jamal Murray.
I could argue Jamal Murray, yeah.
But I think he's the best player by far in Canadian basketball. He carried that team a lot, and he had help with
Giddy,
Dort, both the Williamses, Jalen Williams. I don't know which one's J Dub. The one that is
the other one.
okay.
Well, whatever.
But the one that made the All NBA team essentially, they're an A-tier team because they should not even been in the play-in discussion.
Yeah, that's true. I agree with you.
And
Because
they
their
want to play in
expectation-
game.
Huh?
And they
And they
want
want to play in game, yeah.
I think that team is maybe they're a team that could trade some pieces and bring in
they have a bunch
bring
of
in like a
picks.
Paul George type player, like that type
Back,
of quality player
yeah.
back. Not him, but like that type of quality player back, and they could probably do what the Cavs did essentially.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I think they're
They
an
were,
A-team.
yeah, they were definitely.
Again, this is based on expectations, and I know the Bucks are a better team.
Yeah,
You could argue Knicks, but the Bucks are definitely a better team. Don't get us wrong about that. But this is based on what their expectations were in the beginning of the year
and the end result,
and the end result.
and the Bucks' end result was very poor compared to
The Thunder.
the Thunder's
Yeah.
standards. Memphis Grizzlies.
B. They were still the second seed. They had the jaw troubles. They still fought through that again.
I would argue that Dylan Brooks' troubles were harder to fight through.
Well, Jaw was off the court.
Yeah, I know, but
But yeah, you're right with the Dylan Brooks thing. But that was more so like, yeah, he's trying to trash talk and failed. Yeah, they ultimately lost to the Lakers. Yes, they were the higher seed, but if you look at the quality of the rosters, people were picking the Lakers over the Grizzlies, even though Vegas had Grizzlies as the favorites. I felt like overall B tier. Next year they might be lower just because of the whole Jaw suspension, but yeah, I think B is a fair spot.
yeah, in my opinion, they're better than all these teams.
Yeah,
And
their expectations were there,
And then obviously,
and they happen to play the hottest team in basketball.
obviously losing to the Lakers, they have to be a tier below them. So I agree with Beer looking at a B tier, looking at the tier list so far. But no, I agree with you because second seed, still a good result. Obviously, you didn't really face a 7th seed. You faced a team that was actually better than a 7th seed.
Yeah,
But they were listed as a 7th seed because of their poor start. And you still made it like a 4-2 series with having a Ja Morant injury game.
yeah. So
Yeah, so
fair.
I would agree that. All
Move
right.
on.
It's like the Denver Nuggets. There's no arguments. The Dallas Mavericks are F team.
Yeah, completely fallen off after the Kyrie Irving trade. You were a huge fan of that trade. Whereas I wasn't as much.
I like Luka Doncic. I like the Mavericks, right? So the fact, I was like, all right, let's get Luka some help. Kyrie Irving was a good help, right? So I expected him to at least, hold, right? They were a 5th seed. The fact that you went from a 5th seed all the way out of the play-ins, I've never seen a bigger fall off
Yeah,
in like sports in a while.
yeah. Again, expectation was, they were conference finals last year. They were expected to at least make the conference semis this year. After the Kyrie trade, you thought that would have helped a little bit with the ball handling side of things. Yes, they dismantled the roster. Yeah, they were not a good defensive team before the trade. They were even worse after the trade. But yeah, F tier is fair. There's nothing else to say.
All right, Spurs.
D tier. You're getting Wembanyama. This is probably gonna be dropped after Wembanyama gets drafted officially, which is most likely with the Spurs. But they were supposed to be dead last. They were in the bottom half or bottom 3. They ended up they won the lottery, and they getting the best player in the draft, arguably one of the best players ever to be drafted first overall in terms of talent. So I think that D is a fair.
You may have lost the season, but you won the lottery,
Yeah.
right? And that's what mattered to you guys this year, and you did what you're supposed to do. Get a high draft pick. Phoenix Suns.
B.
Yes, I'll put them. ahead of the.
They struggled a bit at the beginning, then they got going, and then Kevin Durant came to the team. Kevin Durant killed it. They were undefeated in the regular season when Kevin Durant played for the Suns. And the fact that you took the champions to 6 games, yes, with injuries to Chris Paul and DeAndre Ayton, your 2 stars had to go crazy, and they did,
They did for
except for game 6.
and
But
games 5 and 6, right? Games 5.
game
Yeah,
6 for sure.
Yeah, game 6 for sure. The thing is, game 5, like they went good. Like I think they both dropped 20 plus. But in order to win that series, you both had dropped like 35 plus,
Yeah.
right? And they did that for like what, 3 of the first 4 games, where they made it a 2-2 series.
Yeah.
But obviously, scoring that many points is tiring.
Yeah. So I think a B is fair. They could have easily been. I think obviously they were, even without Kevin Durant, title favorites, at least final favorites. Post Kevin Durant trade, I still thought they would have beaten the Nuggets.
Same. I had the Suns.
Yeah. So I think they've obviously fallen off. I feel like they're definitely a B tier, higher than the Bucks too.
All right. Here's one that I think might be a little bit debatable. The LA Clippers.
C.
I would put them here, right?
Doesn't matter, just where C.
Yeah, the top
Injuries. Simple as that.
the top of the seat here.
Right. Paul George gets injured at the end of the year. Kawhi Leonard tears his meniscus, I believe, in the middle of the Suns
First round,
series.
yeah.
And he was killing it the first 2 games. And then obviously the injuries came back. That team's just been injury ridden. There should be title favorites. Obviously can't do title favorites if your 2 best players are out. And they've just had a mass season. Had a good regular season, clearly. They were the 5th seed. So
Yeah, they were the 5th seed. Kawhi Leonard injuries, yeah. It was just injuries, right?
yeah.
Because at the beginning, I thought a healthy Clippers team was a finalist.
They were my finalists.
Right?
They were my team coming out of the West beginning of the year.
As long as they
But
were
it was
healthy.
assuming health.
Yeah,
And they're a scary team for sure. But the problem is the health.
yeah. Warriors.
B tier. It's tough because they have historically the worst road record in history, like literally historically. And they took that Kings team to 7
And beat them.
and beat them. Steph 50 points. Even the Lakers, it was still a tough series for the Lakers to win. Yeah, it went 6 games. They ultimately still finished 6th, right? Obviously obviously I said the Clippers were my title favorites. I still gave the Warriors their respect, right? And they kind of fell off that expectations for me. But I wouldn't have been surprised if they had made it to the finals this year, if they beaten the Lakers and maybe even the Nuggets. Obviously the Nuggets had a dominant run. I'm not saying that it was a guaranteed. But yeah, I think B is a fair spot for them. They still made the playoffs. They still have one of the best home records, and yeah, they had a good playoff run.
Yeah, the reason, for me, my personal expectation for the Warriors weren't title. Like, I thought they weren't going to win.
Finals for me still.
Finals, yeah.
You're
I
a
would say
team-
conference finals.
You're a team coming up the championship with the same roster coming back.
Yeah, no, but
Even pre Wiggins drama that happened with his personal life.
No. But quick point before that is that you had the preseason drama with the
Oh yes,
right. So there was issues coming into the season. There was clear issues.
they fought through it.
They fought through it, but for me, it was conference finals for them. I didn't really expect them to come out the West either. So for my expectations, I think they met it.
Yeah.
But for like everyone else's expectation, coming off a championship year, obviously it's a little bit of
Obviously, they didn't meet my expectations in that sense.
yeah, in that sense.
But I still think they did well enough that they weren't like how the Blazers and all these.
Yeah, they were
teams
better than all the C
Yeah.
tier teams.
Yeah.
Detroit Pistons.
So now they lost a lot. They're not F. I think you just gotta put them in D.
All right.
They did what they were supposed to do. It depends on some people thought they would be better than they were. Cade Cunningham being injured doesn't help, right? I think they're just a D tier team. I don't think they're an F. Like for me, and because it's different with the PL because of the relegation, like I mentioned before, and like NBA teams, NHL teams, MLB teams, NFL teams, you gotta base it on like what they were supposed to do. And if they're still bad, you don't have to put them in C tier because technically they met the expectations, so you put them in C. But no, you still want to be better than you were. So I don't think F is fair. F should be for this type of tier list. F should be for teams that definitely fucked it, like they
Yeah.
failed completely. So I think D is fair.
Yeah, I agree because for me, the expectation for them was similar as last year, but now adding in Monty Williams and another big draft pick, right? Like you still have a top 5 pick,
Yeah.
right? So expectations will rise a little bit, and also you're also linked to some free agent names as well, right? So potentially you could snag one of them and help make your team better.
Yeah.
Uh, Sacramento Kings.
So if this was regular season, S. If it was regular season. But because the first round happened and they blew a 2-0 lead and they had game 7 on home court and got demolished, I'm putting them in A tier. High A. You could put them ahead of the Lakers.
I'm putting them A tier.
You could put them ahead of the Lakers too. Because
So?
this team was supposed to be a play-in team, right?
Yeah, they were supposed to be a play-in
They
team.
got the coach of the year for a good reason. They had one of the best duos. De'Aaron Fox emerged as a star, become a first-time All-Star this year, right? Sabonis was a top 3 center in the regular season, right? And because of that, like if it was regular season, it would have been an S tier for sure. But because we have to include what happened in the playoffs, because they should have won that series, in my opinion. Because you're versing a team, yes, they were much more experienced than you. I personally had the Warriors winning, but after the first 2 games happened,
You're like, oh, okay, these
I was
guys
like,
can actually do
okay,
it.
these guys could actually do it with home court, and they kind of had a letdown. If Game 7 was close, I would have considered end of S tier, but I feel like A tier is fine just because of that.
Here,
Series.
for my personal thing is that after watching the season, I don't think anyone's in S tier. I don't think anyone is at Denver's level.
Yeah.
So that's why I never consider S tier for the Kings. A tier, I agree with you because their expectations.
Well, you got to agree with the expectations were S tier before the playoffs started.
Yeah, no, but I would. Yeah, before the playoffs.
Because we're basing this on a lot of expectations.
Yeah,
as
we're
well.
including everything though, right?
Yeah. That's why I'm putting them in A because of the playoffs.
If they won a playoff series, do you think they were S tier?
Probably.
I would have still kept them at
They
A
would have
tier.
been playing the Lakers, so it depended on how the series would have went.
Yeah.
Or the Grizzlies, but in this case, the Lakers. Then, yeah, I would have considered S if they had won the first round. I feel like because they lost the first round after being up 2-0 as well, that's why they're in A tier.
Yeah, but this is obviously a big step forward because you were supposed to be around here, right?
Yeah, there was supposed to be
C
like
and
C
D
tiers, like
C
a
and
C,
D
B
tier.
tier, maybe even D tier.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
But the big step forward, obviously, you took a
And they were
jump.
comfortably top 3.
Yeah, comfortably top 3 as well. And honestly, making a 7-game series against the defending champs sounds more impressive than also blowing the 2-0
Yeah.
lead. But so I'll say that instead. So I agree with A tier. The Cavaliers.
Now, here's the thing. I'm going to put them in the end of B.
Okay.
And the reason is because, yes, they're the same tier as the Knicks. The Knicks beat them. There's a reason why I said end of B. They were a team that, in my opinion, they had high expectations when you made the Donovan Mitchell trade after what they did last year without Donovan Mitchell. But because, yes, I didn't think, me personally, I thought they were going to be like a 6 seed, 7 seed type guy. Clearly, they beat my expectations for being comfortably a top 4 seed. Correct?
My expectation of top
No,
4.
no. I'm talking about the ending part. Correct?
What?
That they top 4 seed comfortably.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what my expectation
But
was.
because they would have been an A tier team for me if they had beaten the Knicks. They didn't. They got 4-1. Donovan Mitchell struggled in that series. And that's why they're like in a B- for me because I don't think I should put them in C either.
Yeah, I think.
Because I feel like the C teams were slightly different.
Yeah, I think if you're also
they were fairly matched for the Knicks.
the roster, right? Yeah, the roster. Cleveland has a better roster than all these teams here, except for probably the Clippers. The thing with Clippers is down there because they have a bigger expectation than the Cavaliers. The Cavs, for me, obviously, I was like a big fan of the move, obviously, because you know me that I was like, all right, these guys are top 4 teams. And you were...
I was a little skeptical, personally.
Yeah, you were saying that maybe the Raptors would have been better, but I was saying, no way. The Cavs were...
I admit to that,
yeah. The Cavs were definitely going to be a playoff team, like guaranteed top 6.
Yeah.
Right? And they finished the 4th seed, which was good. And it felt... When you watch the games, it felt like it's going to be sustainable. Like, they're going to repeat this again next year. Right? Regular season-wise, you just hope that playoff-wise... Because if you think about it, there's a lot of people's first playoff runs.
Yeah.
Like Mobley and
yeah, because they had play-in experience and not playoff experience.
Yeah, they didn't really have playoff experience, right? So
the top guys for sure.
Yeah,
Jared Allen obviously had some playoff.
Jared Allen had some, but then he was always first rounded.
Yeah,
and then Donovan Mitchell with Utah is probably the most experienced player there, barring any veterans that already like those role player veterans that were there. So I would agree with B here. The Boston Celtics.
A.
I would agree.
3-0 down, should not happen, but they came back, got demolished on home court. Who knows what would happen if Tatum wasn't injured in the first possession. Nothing more to it. They were title favorites. They were a conference finalist at the end of the day.
It was between Bucks and Celtics, and the Celtics got there. The Bucks didn't.
They should have. They have beaten the Heat 100%, in my opinion. There's a reason why we picked them, but I still think they're still an A-tier team.
I think they're still ahead of a tier ahead of the Bucks because they were supposed to be a conference finalist.
Yeah.
They made it there, right?
Yeah.
The Bucks didn't. They had a great regular season. Obviously, with second seed, right, and also the second best team.
Their toughest opponent was the Sixers, and they ended up beating them.
Yeah,
So.
the second best team in the league record wise, and they beat the Sixers in 7, which was honestly a harder path to get to the conference final than the Bucks had, right? So they made it a series against Atlanta, which they shouldn't have. The Sixers series went as how I thought it went, and yeah, then when it came to the Heat, they should have beaten them. If they beat the Heat, I might have considered putting them here,
for sure.
but they didn't, so that's why it has to be A tier for me. The Sixers.
B.
Yeah, I agree.
You could put them in the top if you want. Top would be. He had the MVP, had a good regular season. But the problem was you're up 3-2 in the Celtics. Joel Embiid was injured for a little bit. They handled the business with the Nets. You got to give them props for that. By sweeping them, but you had home court on Game 6 and you choked, and then you choked Game 7. You got to be high NBA because you guys were tied again. I know for you they weren't like the contenders for championship, but they were. You were not
Still
surprised.
conference finals, like
Yeah.
they could still make the
So
conference finals.
because of that, expectations wise, it's B.
Also, we saw flashes of old James Harden as well, but there was also flashes of the
New
now James Harden,
Yeah.
which is like very inefficient. Another thing I like was obviously Embiid won MVP, but another thing I would like is that Tyrese Maxey to me took a little bit of a step forward
Yeah.
and really made himself as the clear third option of that team,
Yeah.
and maybe even second option. Charlotte Hornets.
D.
D.
LaMelo Ball got hurt,
Yeah.
and they were supposed to be a bottom tier team, which they were. I'm pretty sure
They
were
made
14.
like if LaMelo was healthy, they were like a playing team, right?
Yeah, they were playing team last year.
They were a playing team, right?
Or the last 2
So-
years, I believe.
If LaMelo Ball was healthy and they were in the same position, I would consider F. But the fact that he got injured, I would agree with D because like he got injured pretty early
Yeah,
on,
they were
right?
14th. They were 10 games clear of the Pistons. So you put them ahead of the Pistons.
Yeah.
But and yeah, they were like 15ish games out from the 10 seed. So I think D is fine. I didn't think highly of them. Even the highest they would have wanted was C for me. The lowest, I don't think they were an F tier team.
Yeah. If LaMelo was healthy, I would consider putting him F. Wizards.
C. I think they were just meh. Nothing much to say.
I feel like-
Kristaps Porzingis had a great year. Bradley Beal obviously not as highly.
Well, it still
as
was
he before. He was
decent.
decent.
Kuzma was
They
decent.
finished
as well.
12th. They were 5 games off, or no, 5 games off.
They were still in the
They were-
hunt. They were in the hunt for a little bit.
Yeah,
And,
I think they're just a mad team. That's all.
they were just a mad team, and they played like mad,
Yeah,
and the end result was mad.
yeah. I think that's fine.
Orlando Magic.
Same spot. I feel like these last couple of teams, except for one of them, obviously, are a C tier.
They did a little bit better, right? Like I
Yeah.
thought there'd be like 14, 15, but
If you
they
have the Jazz in C, I feel like they're a C team. That's all it is.
they were 11 seed,
Yeah.
right?
No. They were
Well, they were 13. They were 13th.
but they were like 1 game off the 11th seed.
Okay, yeah, so it was close.
And while you're at it, just throw the Pacers in there as well because
Yeah, the
they're-
Pacers
they're-
are here.
they were the same thing.
Just go here.
Yeah, there's nothing much to say. Like Pacers, don't get me wrong, expectations were supposed to be bad, but again, if you have the Jazz there, it's the same thing. Tyrese Halliburton emerged for sure. I love watching him play, but I would have if the Jazz were B, then I would have put Pacers B. If the Jazz are C, I'm putting the Pacers C. It's the same reasoning you had for the Jazz as I'm having the same reasoning for the Pacers.
I would agree.
Pacers started off hot too, right?
They did start off hot.
And they obviously fell out of the play-in, so they literally just picture what he said for the Jazz. That's exactly what I'm saying for the Pacers.
All right, Heat.
See, here's my it's S or A.
I'm putting at the top of A. Switch these two.
Because here's the thing, right? End of regular season, they were like a C team, C tier, even D tier team for me,
Yeah.
right? They should have not been a play-in spot. They should have been like a top 5 seed, in my opinion. Playoffs come, they're S tier playoff run, right? Problem is,
This team was clearly better than the Miami Heat.
That's why.
So for that
But
reason,
if we're
I
ma-
can't put them in the same tier.
True, but again, like they obviously, yeah, it is fair. I can't argue too much because
Yeah, obviously S tier playoff run until you met the Denver Nuggets.
yeah,
Like around the C D tier regular season run, but obviously playoffs having more of a weight we're gonna put them A tier.
Because at the end of the day, preseason expectations were supposed to be conference finals even,
and they made the finals.
and they made the finals. But then if they had gone 7, then I would put them in an S. And against the Nuggets, if they had gone 7 games, then I probably would have considered S. But the fact they went 5 and
then it was clear that Nuggets were the better team.
Yeah.
Like when you watch the games. All right. Last but not least, or maybe least, who knows? Atlanta Hawks.
B or C. Now that's where I was debating.
I was gonna go
because they were not. I didn't expect them to be a conference semifinalist even. I expected them to be like.
I'm gonna go.
They were the
C.
9th seed, and I'm not surprised they were the 9th seed with the teams that finished ahead of them. Right.
They beat the Heat. They were the 8th seed.
These are the teams ahead of them.
They were the 8th seed.
These are the teams ahead of them.
They were the 8th seed.
They were the 7th seed.
Yeah, became the 7th
8th seed to 7th seed. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
They won the play-in.
But you have to consider them a 7th seed now at this point because they beat the Heat.
Yeah.
Right. They were not going to pass the Bucks. They were not going to be ahead of the Celtics, Sixers, Cavs, according to you as well. The Knicks, that was the question mark. And the reason why the Nets are even a 6th seed was because of what they did pre-trade deadline.
Yeah.
Right. Otherwise, the Nets, they would have been a playoff spot for sure. And they were 4 games out of that playoff spot. They made it a fight. Is it top of C or end of B?
I'm going top of C because you
Trae
still
Young.
have the same roster.
Yeah.
Trae Young didn't have his Trae Young year, right? Obviously Nate McMillan being the coach, then you also had some issues, arguments, whatever going on between coach and players. For me, they should have fought for the 6th seed.
They were a 5th, 6th seed for me.
They were 5th, 6th, 8th.
They would have been like them, the Raptors, the Cavs. These teams were like
5th
and the
and
Knicks
6th.
maybe even if you want to put them.
Yeah.
But they ended up being like the 8th seed
and honestly
7th seed.
It's not like they really like failed my expectations. They were quite.
Keep in mind, they beat a team that made the finals.
Yeah, they made a series against the Celtics.
Yeah,
right? And I was
that's
really
why
surprised.
I was considering B. That's why I was considering B. Oh, it's a tough spot, but yeah.
But they've shown they could have been better.
Yeah, for sure.
Right, that's why I'm putting them at C.
Yeah, I agree with it.
So
I would not have been mad if you said B. I honestly would have agreed with it.
It's tough. Any changes? What do you think? What's pissing you off right now? Is there anything that's pissing you off right now?
Nothing.
There's nothing really pissing me off.
The only one I would consider was putting the Lakers down, but then again, they're a conference final team. Are all the conference finals team in S and A? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, they are. So yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
And then the Kings and the Thunder just had unreal.
Yeah, there's 2 things that piss me off. I don't need to change. Obviously, Raptors being my team. You were completely shit this year. And then the Mavericks, you deserve
that pissed you off in a different sense.
And the Mavericks, you deserve a trash can here, on my opinion. Like, I had so much expectations for you. And the fact that, especially you got Kyrie Irving and you fell off.
Do you want to move
this really pissed me off.
Do you want to move the Trailblazers to the end of D or no? That's the only one I would consider moving.
Yeah, I would agree with you because these guys just really pissed me off.
Because they were,
right now.
I wouldn't say they were even title contenders, but you would still have thought the Blazers would have been like the Cavs type team. I thought
no, not the Cavs.
No, like that type of expectations.
Like
the Trailblazers, like a 5th seed, 6th seed.
5th seed, really?
Yeah.
I thought it was playing. I don't really think they were.
True. I wouldn't mind moving them to end of D. Just because I feel like that Dallas team, like
you can't.
They were the 5th seed, but
you can't be this bad, right?
Yeah.
Like you can't be this disappointing.
You have a superstar on your team, and then you added an all-star caliber player. Oh no, superstar caliber player, not a superstar, but like that tier between all-star and superstar.
Okay, here's my reasoning, right? It's nothing to do with Portland. It's everything to do with the Mavericks.
Yeah.
The fact that how disappointing and how badly you fell off, we need to put you on your own tier. The issue is we don't have enough tiers. So that's why we're moving Portland up, so that these guys could have the shame of being alone in their F tier.
Okay, I'll let you live with that. I would have been fine with it if they were still F, but yeah, we could stay with that.
You would agree with that?
Yeah, I agree with that. Let's just end this list then.
All right. So now you guys see the full list. Comment down below your thoughts if you agree, disagree. If you think that Mavericks should have a lower tier, but I don't think that's possible. And just anything else, any other thoughts you have about this list?
Yeah. Like I said, comment down below what you guys thought and think. Like this video if you enjoyed it. We will keep doing more tier list videos. Give us some suggestions down below. And subscribe. And we'll keep making more of this content for you guys and any other type of content you would like. But that's pretty much it. We'll catch you guys in the next one.
Peace.
Peace.